Welcome to this edition of the SKNIS Week in Review. In this program, we recap significant activities of the government of St. Kitts and Nevis over the past week. Coming up, health authorities confirm community spread of COVID-19. St. Kitts and Nevis sends troops to St. Vincent's and the Grenadines. Agricultural production picks up in the Foyes area. And schools to remain closed for the remainder of the school year. Those stories and more are next on the SKNIS Week in Review for the period May 28 to June 3, 2021. Hello and welcome. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Dr. The Honorable Timothy Harris has touted the government's astute fiscal management over the past 5 years that has allowed the country to fare relatively well from the economic shocks of the COVID-19 pandemic that has crippled economies around the world. At his monthly press conference on Thursday, Prime Minister Harris said that his government's payroll supports close to 6,400 persons.
The total payroll disbursement by the government and St. Kitts and Nevis from January to May, covering these three categories: monthly paid employees, government auxiliary employees, and pensioners, is a whopping $115,399,183.25. To make it more simple, the total payroll from January to May 2021 is $115.4 million. You add to that the STEP programs, which employs around 3,000 persons, and the bill for the year so far is another $21 million. And all this is taking place in the context of a significant decline in the inflows from taxes as a result of, for example, our stimulus package, where we waive certain taxes, where we reduce some by as much as 50% in the case of unincorporated business tax, where we reduce corporation tax by some 28% or thereabout. In the context of those reduction in taxes, the government continues to carry on its payroll.
On Tuesday, health officials announced that St. Kitts and Nevis has entered the stage of COVID-19 community spread. Minister of Health, the Honorable Akila Byron Nisbet, noted that health authorities fully expected community spread at some point during the pandemic. As such, officials are well prepared to tackle this new development.
I want to assure the general public that our healthcare system is robust based on the investments that we have made in it, and it stands ready to combat any significant number of COVID-19 cases. We are hopeful that our system will not become overwhelmed, as we know the majority will do the right thing and get vaccinated.
Persons commuting between St. Kitts and Nevis are not required to show proof of vaccination, but must comply with all health and safety protocols designed to limit the spread of COVID-19. On Friday, Abdia Samuel, chairman of the National COVID-19 Task Force, said that he received feedback on the following from top officials within the St. Christopher Air and Seaports Authority.
They have indicated that no citizens, residents, visitors traveling between the island will be required to have a vaccine in order to travel between both islands.
Ten members of the security forces from St. Kitts and Nevis are currently in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to support recovery efforts in the neighboring country following the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano in early April. The men, equally drawn from the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force and the St. Kitts Nevis Defence Force, are operating as part of a peacekeeping mission undertaken by the regional security system. On Saturday, several senior security officials, including Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, and Commissioner of Police Hilroy Brandy, wished the men well as they departed the Federation. Officials within the Ministry of Tourism are spreading the word about the spectacular offerings of the diverse tourism product to nationals and residents. The strategy referred to as local tourism is being used by many countries around the world that have been hard hit by the dramatic declines in travel and tourism as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. On Wednesday, Kenny Manning, Sustainable Tourism Coordinator within the Ministry of Tourism, said that locals should take a closer look at the attractions right in their own backyard.
I had a conversation with a person and they're not aware of the rich history that we have right here. And all the many of the things that we do when we travel. We want to go jet skiing, we want to go rock climbing, we want to go, what do you call that thing,
The zip line.
Zip lining. And you can do it right here. But again, sometimes we don't value what we have as something we don't really have a chance to really look at what we have because, we commercialize, we see the stuff going on in the US and that, that everyone wants to try something out there. But we have it right here.
Agricultural production at the Forest Outreach Center is increasing as a result of a project initiated by the Department of Agriculture. During a tour of the area on Friday, Agricultural Extension Officer Dion Weeks explained the challenges that confronted farming in the area.
The main development is the recultivation of the lands and the planting of mostly potatoes and peanuts and root crops. The issue was most of the farmers who were here had stopped farming because of problems they have with pigs and monkeys. So we did some shooting and some control of the pigs, and we kind of engaged the farmers and try to reignite a kind of energy within them. So most of the farmers are coming back now and trying to redevelop the area. Most of the development you would see it later in the year during the planting season when we have most of the rainfall, where we can do most of the production. But presently we are just in the land preparation stages, and some of the farmers already we are issuing to them cuttings for potatoes. We're trying to look seedlings, yam, dasheen, edos, so we could supply some of the farmers to help them to boost and reignite. Later in the year we should be having pineapples, so we are trying encouraging the farmers to come in now, prepare their lands.
The Water Services Department is strongly encouraging citizens to conserve water as severe drought conditions persist in the Federation. Statistics revealed by the St. Kitts Meteorological Department indicate that for the period January to April 2021, only 6 inches of rainfall were recorded, which is half of the 12 inches recorded in 2020 during the same period. On Friday, Cromwell Williams, manager and water engineer at the Water Services Department, spoke about the matter.
I am appealing to all of us to come to the awakening that we are in a drought and we cannot continue to use water as we normally do. What we desperately need in St. Kitts is a paradigm shift when it comes to water, a whole new mindset. With all the developments that have taken place and are taking place, we can no longer see St. Kitts as a place that has a lot of water and where water is cheap and can be wasted without consequence.
And finally, the Ministry of Education has decided that the resumption of face-to-face instruction at schools will not take place for the rest of the school year. All learning will be done virtually. The decision was made in light of the current community spread of COVID-19. On Thursday, Minister of Education, the Honorable John Powell, said that the decision was made easier, given that schools would have closed naturally by the end of June.
For primary school children, the curriculum reform that we have been undergoing for some time now has allowed for continuous assessment of those children throughout the academic year. And so they will not have any end of term or end of year examinations. In relation to secondary schools, the last week we would have naturally begun examinations for some of those students. And so those students who would have been preparing prior to that and even during the last 2 weeks of lockdown or of closure through the online modality will still be able to write their common examinations. The ministry will indicate to parents and students the modality in which they will have that opportunity. We will also be prioritizing our fifth form students who are about to take or write the CXC examinations.
That's all for this edition of the SKNIS Week in Review. For more information on these and other stories, visit us at sknis.gov.kn. I'm Ian Richards.